Today, my kids are going to be joining me in a little bit so that they can share with you how they manifest reality. In a previous video, I shared with you my first experience, my first notion or awareness of manifesting reality when I was 8 years old and how that turned out for me. And so I encourage you to watch that video if you haven't seen it yet. And so today, before my kids join me, I want you to share with you a couple of stories, things that happen. They're really good about manifesting things, things that they want, events. And so, for example, in people, literally, people, sometimes strangers, have come to knock on our door to offer them things. And one that I remember that was really interesting was one time there was a young man with a child. I came to knock at the door, and when I opened, he said, "You don't know me, but I'm close friend to your neighbor AJ, who was a cop." And he said, AJ told me that you have a child that loves Dora the Explorer and Go Diego Go shows. And I have tickets for the Go Diego Go show that we're not going to be able to use. Would you like to have these as a gift? And so, just literal people come in, strangers come into our door to offer them things. And there's also an instance where a neighbor came over and he offered one of my kids remote control vehicle, which was not inexpensive. And so we have been looking at them grow up and just be able to attract, create, manifest things around them. And they're much better at it than most adults because of the way they're being raised, because they're being raised with respect. They're being allowed to express themselves, and they're also being taught about these things from an early age. And so the difference between what happened to me when I was 8 years old, it was me experiencing something, not being able to explain it, having no one to turn to talk about these things. So they're growing up in a very different situation. And guys, I need you all to come over now. So I'm gonna let them in. And we're gonna tell some stories. This is my son. Make sure you're in the camera, guys.
Yeah.
This is my son. Oh, where's my camera go? Okay. My son, Awan, over here. He is 16. And my son, Zafar, who is 13 years old. And so I'm going to tell a story first, a story that they probably don't remember. Make sure you're in the camera. Okay. And then they're going to tell a story that they do remember about instances where they manifested something. So for Zafar, he was about maybe 14 months old, and we had gone to the farmer's market, and he was in a little stroller. And we were going by one of the stands of the farmers that sold organic plants, in little planters that didn't have to be pot. And he got really excited looking at a tomato plant. He was looking at that tomato plant like it was almost like it had a consciousness and was talking to him through his mind. It was really cute to see. But he was 14 months old, And so what was in my mind was not, oh, this kid needs a tomato plant, but the man that was at this booth, right? He says, "Your kid wants the plant," and he's almost rude to me, like, "What kind of a bad mother are you that you can see he wants the plant and you don't get it for me?" But I'm like, not gonna buy a tomato plant for a 14-month-old, And so then, but he continues to look at the plant. So this man who was a grouch, he was known as being a grouch, he smiles to him and says, "Here, I'm going to give this gift to you." And he gives me a bad look, like I'm a bad person. And so the funny thing is he doesn't remember the incident of how he got the plant, but he does remember caring for the plant later on. He remembers how we came home and repotted it and how he would water it, because I'm like, okay, he has a plant now. I have to teach him how to take care of it. And so what story are you going to share today?
The one about the ring.
The ring? Okay, so tell us a story.
So one time we went to a festival, and as we were leaving, we saw this guy at a stand, and he was making rings out of wrenches.
There you go.
We're looking at them, and none of them were the right size for me, and we probably wouldn't have gotten any anyway. And we were talking to him, and he started making one, and he measured it from my finger, and he made it, and we got to watch him make it. It was pretty cool, and he gave it to me. So
Yeah,
after I'd wanted it and we weren't gonna get it, he gave it to me. So
it was pretty neat because he was admiring the rings that this guy had made from bending wrenches, but he had tried them on and they were all too big for him. And so this guy, he saw his interest, right? And so he did a demonstration, and he had a blowtorch and with a hammer he shaped the ring to exactly fit him, and then gave it to him. Um, so now I'm going to tell a story of Awan that he doesn't remember when he was. Bilingual kids, and they're both bilingual. Bilingual kids take longer to speak in full sentences because they have to learn two languages, right? So he was not yet 2 years old, and he still was not very good at communicating with words. So we had bought a video for him to learn sign language, and he loved the video, and it was very well done video, sign language for babies. And so he saw the he would watch this video, and there was a scene where they were showing cars, different kinds of cars, and there was this little vehicle of the kind where toddlers sit in it and they mobilize by moving their feet, right? That they don't have pedals, but they move with their feet, like kind of like the Flintstones. And I had seen, in stores, I had seen the same type of video, but they were yellow and red. And I had never seen one like the one they showed in the video, which was in teal color. And but he really liked it, and he used to do this thing with his hands, and when he got really excited, whenever that scene came on the video, he would go like that and get really excited. And so we but we hadn't found the vehicle anywhere, the one that he really liked. And so one time we go visit some friends in a town nearby, and when we get there, the husband of my friend, he produces the exact vehicle that he's been eyeing on the video, and he says, "Hey, our neighbors moved away and they left this behind, and I kept it for Awan." And the funny thing was with him, when he saw it, it wasn't like surprise, like, wow, how did this happen? It was like, oh, it's here. It's almost like he had placed an order, to the universe for the vehicle, and then the vehicle showed up. And so, which story are you going to share today?
Right. Okay. Well, I remember that when I had a library card for some time, and thank goodness I have it back by now. But I used to get tons of books every time we went to the library very close to
How
home.
old were you?
I don't know. I must have been at the time of this incident, I was probably 12, 13.
No, I think you were
No?
younger,
You were
more like
younger?
10. Yeah,
Okay.
more like 10.
Well, in any case, it was around then. And I used to get like huge stacks of books. I'd bring like a bag with me to the library, and I'd just take so many. And I used to be really good about finishing all of them. I would come back and return every single book, almost always on time. But eventually, my brother and I got to a point where we weren't keeping good track of when we needed to return our books. And one day, in total, we owed $15 to the library in overdue fines.
Yeah.
So we go to the library to return these books. Turns out we forgot the books. So we go back to the house. One of us goes into the house, uses the bathroom, comes back to the car. We go back to the library. We forgot the books again.
Yeah, and I had assumed they got the books, right?
So by now, Mom was like pretty frustrated with us.
Very mad.
So she took away our library cards and said that we wouldn't have them back for about 6 months. Yeah. And that she wouldn't be taking us to the library at any point until at least the last 2 months of that, if I recall.
Like I said, they had to, their dad would have to take them to a library and get them books because I was not going to for at least 2 months. And so how did you feel about the whole incident?
Well, I mean, I felt pretty disappointed because like I was in the middle of a couple series. I think I was reading Familiars and stuff like that. So I was like, darn, I'm not going to get to finish that for months. And I was pretty bummed out.
Yeah. And did you have a thought that you wished for something? And so did you visualize like in something?
I mean, I didn't think I
like
could change
mountains of books?
No, I mean, I didn't think I could change the way it was, but I did kind of wish that there was some way I could continue to read during that time.
Yeah, and so what happened the next day?
The next day, Mom goes to the YMCA, and as she's leaving in the parking lot, a woman approaches her and says, "Hey, you homeschool your kids, right?" So she takes her to her car, and she opens the trunk, and there are three boxes full
Three
of
huge
books.
cardboard boxes.
Yeah, full of books and audiobooks.
And they were exactly the kinds of books that I like to read. And so I think that lasted for 3 months
About
of
right,
active
yeah.
reading and listening to audiobooks. And so that's so examples of how they have manifested things. And so the interesting thing is, in the previous video where I had shared how I had the experience of manifesting changes in attitudes in the adults around me when I was a child, I didn't have anybody to talk to about it. I didn't know what it was, and I got so scared that I blocked it. I blocked it for many, many years. But when my experience of manifesting something happened, I was not using the law of attraction, with the process that the teachers of the law of attraction outline, and neither were they. He was just like in your case, you were just showing your excitement, how much you would love to have something, and then people gave it to you. And in your case, it was like you didn't even believe. That's the interesting thing. You didn't even believe the circumstances could be changed. You just wish for things to be changed. And now, one reason I think they're so good at manifesting reality is because of the way they have been raised, where they have been allowed to express themselves, because they're being exposed to all the information that we expose them to. But basically, because they keep the vibration really high. And keeping your vibration high is not just about having positive thoughts or encouraging positive feelings. A lot of it is physical. And so, to keep your vibration high, I'm going to send you a link to an article where I have written about this so you can have that information there so you don't need to worry about taking notes. And if you watch this on my website, the link to that article is going to be underneath the video. And so, in a lot of raising your vibration and keeping your vibration high is about physical things. You need to get enough sleep. You need to get the foods that you need to replenish all the nutrients that you need. You need to stay hydrated. You need to exercise. You need to stretch, and you need to do different types of exercise. Right? You need to do kinds of exercise that get your heart going, the kinds of exercise that help you relax, and the kinds of exercise that help you build muscle. And the more you do this, the more energy you're going to have, and the more able you become to manifest. So one reason I wanted to do this video with the kids is I want to share this with you, that taking care of the physical, just taking care of your physical body and taking care of your physical home, because I mean, obviously they're growing with great feng shui. These things make it a lot easier for you to manifest reality. So manifesting is making things become reality by intending them. And intending is putting your attention and your focus on something that you want to happen, and having a particular target for your thoughts, a particular target for your emotions and your actions. And so it's really interesting for my husband and I, to see them develop and to see how easily they get things. This was something funny that happened also. Maybe it was 3 or 4 years ago. We were waiting for my husband who had gone into the health food store, and we were waiting in the car, and my son Awan, he asked me, is it because people have had past lives that they have lived before that life on earth is so easy? And I was like frozen when he said that. And so he repeats it, he repeats the same thing. And then I say, honey, I heard you the first time, but I just don't know how to answer, because I think for most people living on Earth, could not relate to that. They wouldn't think that's a true statement. Most people wouldn't think, "Oh man, it's so easy to be here," and but that's their perception. Their perception is like that because of their upbringing, but also because we have encouraged them to develop their spiritual abilities. And so, as let me see here something with the technology. Okay. And yeah, sorry about that. Just have to check, make sure our technology is working well and everything's being recorded. And so as you work through your life, you are going to want to raise your chronic vibration, not just raise your vibration, because you can go to church, you can go meditate, you can go to a retreat, and you're going to feel your vibration rising. But that many times is not going to be enough, that because it's a momentary thing. So what I would like to encourage you to do is to think about raising the chronic vibration of your life by working on your body and working on the feng shui of your home. Now, I can help you with the second part, right? I can totally help you raise the vibration of your home. And I want to invite you to a very special teleclass where I'm going to be teaching you how you can manifest blessings in all 9 life areas by using the Bagua map in a very particular way. So I'm going to teach you how to set goals for every one of the 9 life areas, and how to create a metaphysical feng shui cure and where to put it in your home, so that you start manifesting your things in your life more like children do, and not with having to be so methodical and having to study and put so much of your attention and your energy. So I want you to learn how to use your home so that you can make your manifesting automatic. And so this you can find under this video, if you watch this video when it's posted on the website. And if you are watching this video live, I'm going to send you a link later on. I'm going to send you the link to this class, and so that you can see it as a very small fee for the teleclass, because, especially because it's going to include this service from me. Every person who signs up for the teleclass is going to be able to upload their floor plan to my training website. I'm going to apply the Bagua map to your floor plan, and I'm going to return it to you so that when you take the teleclass, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what where the corners and midpoints of your home are, so that you don't make any mistakes. And I'll tell you what, I work with thousands of people every year, students and clients, and most people get it wrong. So when I start working with a client and they send me their floor plan and I apply the Bagua map to their floor plan and send it back to them, um, just about every single one of them tells me, "Oh, I was doing it all wrong." And the same thing with my students. Even students who are training to become feng shui consultants. When I see the way the Bagua map should be applied to their home, they're like, "Oh, I hadn't considered that." Or I almost had it right, but I was doing this wrong or this other thing wrong. So it's going to be amazing that for this very low fee of the teleclass, you're going to be able to get something from me that only my clients and my students of consultant training get. And so that's going to be included. And you're going to be able to know exactly how the Bagua map is applied to your floor plan, so you know where all your life areas are mapped in your home. And I'm going to then guide you in this class to identify your major problems and obstacles that you have for each life area. And then I'm going to help you set healthy goals for you, goals that seek your highest good in every possible way. And you're going to create this metaphysical cure that is going to help you manifest everything that you want in your life and everything that's good for you by programming your deep mind. Your deep mind is the part of your mind that is constantly working, that it's on even when a person is unconscious. So I'm going to teach you how to put these targets, these goals for each of the 9 life areas into your deep mind by using the feng shui of your home as an aid, so that in the future, manifesting a happier life for yourself and your loved ones becomes automatic. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned. Check the links I'm going to be sharing with you below. And also make sure to stay tuned for more videos that are coming as part of this series and for the teleclass. Thank you everyone for joining.